tonight is a great way to open the celebration of the week celebration by celebrating the creative arts. That creative spirit that animates the arts at MIT is the same kind of creative blood that flows through so much of what we do. And I don't know who told you that I like tap dancing, but somehow people have found out all kinds of things that I like and then produced them.
It is wonderful to see so many of you here tonight in support of our new president. I would like in particular to thank all of the students who are here facing end-of-term finals and projects. I appreciate that you are here this evening to celebrate with us, and I wish you the best of luck in finishing your academic year.
The theme of our inauguration indicates an uncommon place. It's the uniqueness of our culture, our style, our values, and our traditions that really permeate all aspects of this diverse institute.
I heard about Meijin Yoon's exhibition, read about it at the Olympics in Greece, and I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful? Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could see it here at MIT? And indeed, tonight we are going to be able to see this marvelous exhibit, and I think it is my wonderful duty to call for the exhibit. And so with no further ado, I will simply say, let the white noise, white light begin.
I'm actually hoping here that people can discover it at 3 a.m. on their way back home or back to the dorm, and they can just experience it kind of more individually, more independently.
Most of the MIT students, but it's open to any MIT community.
So each week, 2 teams of high school aged kids will be solving challenges, such as build a machine that can automatically fill up your water balloons, so you don't have to take time out of your busy water balloon fight.
My name is Amy Fitzgerald, and I'm an instructor at the Edgerton Center. I'm the outreach coordinator for our outreach program. We see more than 2,000 school children a year from public, private, homeschooling groups. We see Boy Scout troops, all sorts of groups come in.
So I run after school programs where kids come and actually from the very age of 10 to 16 use all sorts of machine tools and actually build things that they want for the purposes of like learning, engineering, and science.
This is the dreaded bridge of doom. Don't fall into the poison peanut butter.
I'm amazed at the range of programs in K through 12 and the commitment of the people who are running these programs are really fabulous.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 16th president of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Dr. Susan Hockfield, accompanied by the chairman of the corporation, Dr. Dana Mead.
It is now official. May I present to you the 16th President of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Susan Hockfield.
For in the purest sense, this magnificent gathering is the culmination of the official welcome of President Hockfield to MIT. But the truth is that we've been welcoming her since she first walked into a roaring ovation in 10-250 nearly 8 months ago. At that moment, there was a collective and almost ethereal embracing of her and her wonderful family, Dr. Thomas Byrne and their daughter Elizabeth, and at the same time, there was a feeling that in her being, in her heart, she was already one of us. And so said quite simply, President Susan Hockfield, as graduate students, we are very happy that you are here. Thank you.
Thank you all. There are about 1,000 people here, and I would guess I have thanks that I could extend to each of you. It would take us well into tomorrow afternoon. And I don't know about you, but you know, I've had a busy day. But I want to thank you all for being part of this truly uncommon celebration of the things we hold deeply in common. It's been an extraordinary night and an extraordinary week. It has been a wonderful, wonderful showcase of only a small set of the marvelous things that MIT has to offer one another in the world. It is an enormous privilege to be part of this community. Thank you all for joining the celebration. Thank you for being here tonight.
Mike, welcome to your reunion.
President Vest, thank you very much for a kind introduction. I'd like to check our comms. Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well.
When we were setting this up with NASA, they were wondering if we'd be able to get a good audio and video, and I can see you guys great. I'm glad you guys can hear me. And I said if anybody could do great audio and video, it's MIT.
Getting a lot of applause there.
I miss MIT 15 years ago, and everybody who was an alumnus in front of me said, you know, it goes by fast, and boy, it really does. And I'm sure I'll probably feel that way after 20 and 25 years. But the nice thing about having time is it's given me a little bit of perspective, and the view we have on the planet from up here gives me some more perspective. And what MIT does is very important. The mission of MIT, the way that MIT goes about teaching its students, and the way that MIT is not afraid to be world class. These are very important things to the entire planet.
.270 started long, long ago in a place actually not far away, in the basement of this building. We gave the students a creativity kit.
But inside the tube is a rod that is the piece of welding rod.
And I was a graduate student at the time and worked closely with the students and learned that for their first design project, it was really hard for them to decide what to do.
And this is where the lanyard's going to be attached, and that'll be stretched out.
So the next year we decided that we'd give them a kit of materials, but give them a very specific thing to try to accomplish.
I'm doing that for lightness to cut mass, but basically it's for looks, aesthetics.
And they got into it immediately, and that sort of got the ball rolling. And 270 began with a very simple contest that involved making a machine go down a hill in 3 minutes.
Go down and just drill big holes in those until you're okay.
The 270 contest evolved to where it is today. When we first started, it was a simple machine doing a single thing while people watched, and it was quite slow. After a while, we had machines side by side doing things so that you could see some competition, and then we got interested in what happens if the machines actually collide in the middle and compete for territory.
Tie the knot, move it back, place it, set it in the sand.
From that, we evolved robotically controlled things. And that has become a much more interactive, interesting thing to watch. But the most important thing that happened was the students took on the challenge. They competed like crazy, but helped each other in the process. That, I think, is one of the most important things about 270, 2007 first. The whole idea that you can work together, but still compete and help each other. A shared environment, a shared learning experience, a great model for what the profession of engineering ought to be about.
I first came in contact and actually heard about it when I was here as an undergraduate. And Woody Flowers was my Europe advisor for, actually I was blueprinting an engine for my pickup truck. And I was kind of looking forward to taking 270, but I had blown my engine on my truck, so he actually agreed to let me, at that point, rebuild the engine on my truck. And so I was peripherally involved. I was always looking in on the class, and gee, that looked like a lot of fun. But never really got around to doing it. Always kind of wishing I had, but vicariously living it by helping my friends and stuff. And then I graduated, went off to work, came back as a professor, and then I taught one section in it, because the course has the main instructor in charge of the whole class, where you're really the manager or the captain of the ship. So if I recall, there was a committee for a while, and they were debating to whom to give the class to. And they said, well, the only person who really should teach is Alex, because he has good taste in fashion, and we need someone with good taste in fashion. So They asked me if I would do it, even though I don't have tenure, and I said, okay, but let's go ahead and involve the undergraduates more in actually running it, and that'll be like a whole army of people helping. That was kind of a birth of the undergraduate assistant arm of it. And we've been having fun ever since.
The contest is just a lot of fun.
It's one of the best classes I will ever take. I'm sure of it.
270 rocks.
270's changed a lot. Now it's remote control, interactive, lots of things happening. That happened gradually.
The real thing that has changed is that we've gone to radio control from the old days of a tether. So now the machines have a lot more freedom. And it also means in designing the contest, we can put more things into it, so it's more like a pinball machine.
At first, the students were required to do pencil drawings of devices before they would go build them. And most of them wouldn't, they'd just go start building. Then we learned drafting, computer-aided drafting, and they use those tools to help a little bit. Now we're at the point where you can do solid models, and the tools are becoming much more useful. The students will do that because it's actually fast and works. And we're getting to the point now where the on-screen dynamic simulations are good enough that you can actually use them to get an insight about what's going to happen.
So the kit has evolved with the class, with technology in general. We just give them primarily raw materials, sheets of aluminum, bars of metal, just gears, bearings, motors. That's it. We just give them the most basic of Lego bricks. And then they design, cut, fold, weld, put together real machinery from it.
We always try to change, the character of the transportation problem if there is one involved. One year we had putting a square peg in a round hole, which was a lot of fun, and MIT students can do that. It's probably a good experience.
So the contests have not really changed at all in the sense that they are to provide a challenge to the students that when you look at the contest, there is no single right answer. No one can look at this and say, aha, that's how you win.
So if you get to the end and there's 4 or 5 completely different designs that are competitive, it's a good sign.
And it's fun because all the students are they're really excited, and it's not just, oh, another problem set, let's see. It's like, wow, I'm really doing something useful. Wow, cool, this is cool, I'm gonna win, yeah.
In 270 and 2007, we try hard to make sure the students know that they have the freedom to try something different. Just get your instructor on board and say, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to do this or not, but I want to try this crazy thing. And that's okay, because it's not about winning the competition. It's about doing a meaningful, good job.
When I start the class off, first lecture, I say, okay, everyone wants to win this contest. But first of all, it's not a contest. It's a celebration. It's just a great geeking time. Get together with your robots and yow, we're gonna have fun. Because statistically, everyone here is going to lose. Because your chances of winning are only 1 in 120. So chill out, relax, have fun. And when you're having fun, A, you will do better, and B, when other people ask you for help or you see someone who needs help and you help them, you learn. And the more you learn, the better chance you will of doing better yourself. And that's true in your professional life also.
You compete like crazy, and you get a lot of kudos for helping other people. One of the things that teaches, by the way, is that ideas are cheap. The combination of ideas and execution and excellence in the whole process is what really matters. So occasionally someone would keep their secret. They would say, this is my idea and I'm not going to tell anybody. And they would do that for a while, and they looked up and said, wait a minute, everybody else has had the same idea and they've chosen not to. Maybe I'll talk to people about what I want to do.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down.
When you're a student, failing early and often is a very healthy thing to go through, because every time that happens, pick yourself out, say, I now understand something that was very important here. I'm going to use that information to go forward.
If you don't fail, you will never have fun. The trick is to learn how to fail, and that's a very important part of what we want to teach them in this class.
It's also nice to have an environment in which failing is okay. The competition is always designed so that there are lots of ways to go, and consequently there are a lot of ways to hide your ego. You know, you can try something that has very low probability of work, but your instructor will say, hey, go for it. Later in life, if you have not established a faith in your own ability to be creative, it's really hard to do that when the stakes are so high. If you make a mistake, you might lose your job. So while you have a chance to test your creative wings, you better do it.
This is the final round on the red and blue table for 2007-2003. The two tables. Scott, start
Ready? 1-0.
Go.
1-0. Go.
She can get back. Oh, this is an exciting round. Oh, more noise, more score. Higher, 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 higher. Faster, faster. Oh, and it's still the other table. Oh, the block. Oh, ah. The block. That means it's not gonna move more. Oh, but he can get more weight. Oh my goodness. Ah, all right. Roar! Ah! This one's heavier. And the spinner wins. Woo! Congratulations.
UPOP stands for Undergraduate Practice Opportunities Program. It's a program in the School of Engineering that we have designed to help engineering students gain a better appreciation of the engineering practice, the workplace, and to help them acquire the skills they would need to be effective and be leaders in engineering practice out there.
We have four phases to the program. The first is a 40-hour corporate training seminar. It's called the Introduction to Engineering Practice Workshop that we teach during IIP. The second is a spring seminar series taught by alumni that focus on career development topics. The third is the summer practice experience where the students do an internship for 10 weeks during the summer. And then finally, we have a fall reflective experience where the students come back and share with other students, faculty, and alumni what they learned from their engineering practice experience and how it relates to what we taught them.
I think in doing a program like UPOP, the School of Engineering is making a very strong statement about undergraduate engineering education. in the sense that not only do we have to have our students strong in their technical disciplines, but it is important that they have an appreciation and have the skills and ability to deal with engineering practice as they are in the real world.
The topics I was most interested about in the UPOP program were how organizations work, what engineers can do and what their role is within an organization, and what sort of factors you need to take into account when you are planning a business, such as marketing, knowing your customers, and working together with your whole team rather than just your engineers to deliver the product that people really want.
There's a little bit of warming up to do with the people I worked with, and I guess there were some challenges. They gave me my project for the summer, and on the first day I finished it, and they were a little confused as to what to do with me. But I know I explored around, and I ended up learning a huge amount, and I had a marvelous time there.
It definitely provided a different approach to things. You know, you think engineering, you think private industry, you don't necessarily think the public sector. People miss out on that, especially MIT students. They miss out on the opportunity to explore other realms because you have these great companies who come here, recruit the students, provide them with, you know, great packages for the summer. So it's hard to turn that down, and to have that opportunity to have some other opportunities available, like nonprofits or government or whatever, I think is a good it's a good thing for MIT students, because you need MIT students in all aspects of life, including government.
I definitely see myself really curious and not just being able to come up with an idea, but marketing it. Because I've seen these companies fail, and this company was, you know, on the edge for a long time there. And so now I really want to learn about what makes a company and what can really make it great.
I think that the UPOP experience has been very important to my MIT education as a whole because it's really helped me get a perspective on the technologies and skills that I've been learning in my classes. While I know from my classes how to get the right answer to a problem, from UPOP I know how to put together questions, how to think about an organization or new technology or about my career, and really how to set things up. So it's really taking a broader view and incorporating a lot of different elements from psychology, managerial science, marketing, pretty much everything. And when I add my MIT education to that, I feel very prepared for my career in the future.
MIT sponsors a uniquely expansive athletic department, which features 25 intercollegiate sports, 40 club sport offerings, and 42 intercollegiate athletic programs.
Athletics are part of this notion of building a community and building a complete individual's education.
I certainly feel more well-rounded because of it. I feel that I've had the chance to excel in different aspects of my life.
MIT has the largest number of academic All-Americas in the country, with 114 since the program began in 1980. I think it showcases that our kids are doing exceptionally well in the classroom as well as on the field.
At the beginning of each season, the football coach says, "Gentlemen, the first priority for you is going to be your academics. The second priority is going to be football. And if your list doesn't look like this, then you shouldn't be in this room."
Nearly 60% of our undergraduates compete in organized sports at some level on campus.
It's a good thing because I met a lot of people that I wouldn't have met otherwise, who I would see afterwards. And I was like, "Oh, are you on my IM team? So how's it going? How's your research?"
They don't exist for themselves. They don't exist for the alumni to make the alumni feel good. We have them because they're part of the educational experience.
At the edge, roll twice and roll. Out into the water, down.
The crew boat itself, the 70-foot boat, is a micromanaged system in and of itself. You've got the administrator, your coxswain, and then you've got your powerhouse, you've got your stroke, who is your leader of your powerhouse. And then you've got your 4 and 5 seeds who are the peak of your boat. And then you've got your bow who kind of guides you along in the little directions left and right. And so together you work as a team to the common goal.
They learn incredible amounts about leadership, teamwork, sportsmanship, and courage, the willingness to take risks and push their abilities beyond what they think they can achieve.
I have learned to push myself during races and during practices so hard and commit myself to a certain goal unequivocally and in a way that I never had before.
The MIT I knew in the 60s and early 70s had a proper emphasis on athletics and a tremendous diversity of sports and really emphasized participation. That part hasn't changed. But what's happened is there's an even greater variety of sports today.
If MIT doesn't have something, be it a club or an organization or a sport, if 2 people want to do it, they'll let you organize it and you can have it. It's up to the individual, but the MIT will embrace that.
It always has been in the past and always will be about opportunity for all.
One of the things that I think is particularly striking about the athletic program at MIT is the emphasis on participation in sports rather than spectator sports. You don't see the whole campus coming out to watch the football game on a Saturday afternoon like you might find on some college campuses, but you do see an incredible number of students that are engaged. Currently, about 20% of the students are involved in a varsity sport. About 80% of the students are involved in intramural sports, and 100% of the undergraduates are involved in the physical education program.
So it really lets students pursue their interests, whether they pursued them as an extracurricular activity through their school previously or whether it's something brand new.
We've been able to make major investments in facilities and support services that have enhanced an already vital program. The biggest single change has been the opening of the Ziziger Center.
The Z Center, that thing is just beautiful, man.
It just seemed like the MIT campus became healthier because people were more willing to work out, because there were more facilities and they were nicer.
The new facilities have been made possible because there was a vision on the part of MIT, but then the facilities could not have been created without the financial support of the alums who have come forth to say, yes, we recognize that that is an important priority and we want to be able to support it.
You'll be in there lifting weights and your professor will be in there lifting weights also or something, and say hi to them, and just little things like that, seeing people outside of the classroom and interacting not in an academic way, I think really helps build the community.
It's not just about the classroom or just about the laboratory, but it's about growing as a person. And part of that is working with other students or participating in sports or other sort of events, the arts, all of which will carry forward into their future lives.
When I came as a freshman, coming in, there's all these things thrown at you. So many activities to do, so many organizations.
And that's what's really so impressive about this place is that everyone's passionate about something. You just have to talk to them for 5 minutes and you'll start to hear about it.
I think what surprised me most is really just how much there is to do and how many people are doing this stuff. Like, there's a club for almost anything you can imagine, and there's enough people to actually fill the club, too.
We're about to perform an opera made up on the spot from Italy. Let the opera begin.
I
I came to MIT, I was interested in computer science majoring, but I also like the arts. And my favorite type of art is dance. I love to dance. I've been dancing since I was 2.
I've been studying mechanical engineering at MIT, and during the time I've been here, I've been really involved in the hobby shop.
I came to MIT to major in computer science, but while I was here, I discovered lion dance.
What I also found here is a passion for service on a scale which is different from anything that I had really been able to conceive of.
We are going to explain about filter systems for water.
I was a coordinator of the Freshman Leadership Program. I've also done a lot of work within the community at different schools within the Cambridge system.
The thing that I'm most involved in right now is MIT Africa Internet Technology Initiative.
I play both field hockey and lacrosse. I am involved in a sorority, Alpha Phi.
I'm a small group leader, a small group Bible study leader for Asian Christian Fellowship. And I was involved in the MIT Cross Buttocks, which is the only Christian a cappella group on campus.
The range is just so large, it would take a huge amount of time just to enumerate the opportunities. In some sense, this challenge for the student is figuring out which of those things they want to do, because they can't do everything. They can't even do a small fraction of everything.
I like working on projects where I'm dealing with the smaller things in life, the little things that perturb you every day. And this problem of waking up in the morning is certainly something that I used to think about a lot when I was waking up. You know, I would hit the snooze button accidentally for up to 2 hours, or even accidentally turn the alarm clock off. So this was just sort of a way I could include some sort of playfulness inside technology and solve a problem without adding complexity. Alarm clocks are traditionally very annoying devices, and I wanted to create something that was playful and meaningful and that could sort of even excite some laughter in one of the most hateful times of the day. So I took an industrial design course at the MIT Media Lab that inspired me to create Clocky, and I came up with the idea and just sort of prototyped it for a few days. And from there, I think somebody picked up on it and realized it was something that everybody could relate to.
Part of the goal of consumer electronics research here at the MIT Media Lab is to take advantage of the intelligence that we can put inside ordinary products to make them more delightful, to make them do the right thing, to make them behave in a predictable and understandable way. Clocky is a clock that has behavior. And as Gori likes to say, it has the behavior of a somewhat troublesome pet that you still love. And in this case, we also think the behavior is useful. And one of the reasons I believe that we've seen such a response from press and just from ordinary people to Clocky is that they understand exactly what it does, and they think that's going to help them wake up in the morning.
The concept for Clocky originally was not to use the most advanced technology, but to create a new place for technology that was playful and that had some personal meaning for an individual's life. Clocky is made up of a small computer inside that is programmed with a random generating sequence of numbers that control the speed and the direction that Clocky will move in. And it's connected to a couple motors and a couple wheels, and those enable it to move around the room. When you hit the snooze button, Clocky will sort of roll off the bedside table and wheel away on the floor, running in random directions and speeds until he finds a place to rest. And every day, Clocky will find a new place to rest, so it's sort of like a hide-and-seek game that you would play every morning. Clocky is, of course, a research project at the Media Lab, and I'm currently developing more prototypes. But Clocky could soon be in production within a year. The Media Lab is a great environment for a project like this to emerge. I've been able to do everything from fabricating to programming to coming up with ideas and thinking about real-world problems, all in the space of one lab.
Well, I think Clocky answers a need that is felt across cultures throughout the world, and that is being able to get up in the morning when one really doesn't want to. And a snooze bar makes it very easy not to get up in the morning. Well, in this case, Clocky lets you use the snooze bar once, and then you have to go find the alarm clock in order to turn it off the second time. And by that point, you're out of bed. And it's a very simple scenario to explain. Anybody who has an alarm clock can understand exactly why this is an interesting idea. And the kinds of responses we've seen from people who have written to us or who have written on blogs on the internet around the world is that they understand what this is about. They may agree or they may disagree, but they can immediately see what the point is.
This is Toddler, and this is Dr. Russ Tedrake. Together, they're covering new ground at MIT.
So we call the robot Toddler because it learns to walk and because it toddles when it walks.
Toddler is a passive dynamic walker. That means he is a simple mechanical device with joints. In the past, the only way these robots could walk was to trundle down a slope. They couldn't walk on flat surfaces. This is where Toddler steps to the front of the class. He's simple, like the passive dynamic robots, and he can walk on flat surfaces too. The difference is he uses very little power to do so.
We're letting the dynamics of the robot solve most of the control problem, and we just add a little bit of energy here or there to kind of push and pull the robot. And that's a much more energy efficient strategy for designing a walking robot. It turned out that the passive dynamic walking was a great way to make a system that could learn in real time on a real machine.
The robot has a computer and battery packs on board, and the steering is controlled with a wireless connection and a laptop. But Toddler does a lot of the work itself. Because the robot already knew how to walk down a slope, it required less work to find a solution for walking on the flat. Dr. Tedrake gave Toddler the ability to use sensors that communicate with motors. So with each step the robot takes, it's able to make adjustments.
And that's what we call learning. It's a simple idea, but it's the best way we can embody what we think the nervous system is doing too when we're talking about learning. When we put it on the flat and we start asking it to learn, then it can actually change the parameters quickly enough that in, we say 20 minutes to be safe, in 20 minutes it learns to walk on the flat. And it can continue to adapt to the terrain as it goes.
Toddler can also be adjusted to learn very quickly, but with faster learning comes a price.
There's this very interesting result in learning theory, which tells you can't have learning without generalization. The problem is when you start generalizing, then there's a possibility that you'll overwrite things that you've learned in the past.
So if it learns faster, the robot will walk from linoleum to carpet with only a quick adjustment. However, the return to linoleum may take a little longer. But it's easy to see that Toddler has in fact learned. And that ability has enabled Toddler to tackle new terrain.
It's just such a thrill whenever you see the robot walking, and especially when you do it in a public place and you can see all the people go, oh look, it's the cool little robot.
So how does studying a robot that walks like a human actually benefit humans?
So by just looking at how a machine walks and understanding that, we can actually learn a lot about how humans walk. Ultimately, down the line, far down the line, if we understand the motor learning system better, then there's a potential that we could use that information to design rehabilitation programs, even neural prosthetics to help people recover from injuries or augment their performance. There's a lot of different potential applications.
As for Toddler, he's got a big brother already in the works. This new version includes changes such as smaller feet, new components, and a fine set of knees. Knees that can both lock and swing through a step will enable the robot to be more versatile. It's also one of the steps being taken to make the robot appear more human, something Dr. Tedrake thinks is very important for the future of robot design.
When you see a robot that looks like a human,
you kind of have a tendency to reach out to it, and it really helps, I think, with the human-robot interaction.
Dr. Tedrake says there is still much to learn from the original toddler and from its new brother.
It's an iterative process where we basically start adding components back in and see just how far the learning can take us. And once you've built one, and once you've watched it walk, the idea really sells itself. I think it's the first step in a long road of building better robots, more efficient robots, and learning systems for robots. So I hope
One morning, I came up the steps of Massachusetts Avenue and walked through the door, and the entire space had been transformed into a wheat field. Innovative visual arts projects like that are happening all the time on campus. The arts at MIT, like science and engineering at MIT, are on the cutting edge of their disciplines. They are serving the students, and in the way they're serving the students, ultimately, they're going to be serving the entire society.
At MIT, you'll find some of the best musicians, virtuosos completely. The person who lives next door to me has perfect pitch, and if you name any song whatsoever, he can strum it out on his guitar. If it has multiple lines of music, he can strum out all lines on his guitar. And you can see that it's indicative of the level of quality at the MIT Symphony Orchestra, the MIT Concert Choir, etc.
Last year I got to premiere a song cycle written by an MIT composer, and that was a lot of fun. Modern poetry, modern music, and everything.
Everyone at MIT cares about something, whether it's their classes or their Europe or some student activity they do. There's always something that they really care about.
The thing about MIT students that I most appreciate is the elegance of their thinking and the fact that it's sort of live and let live here. There's a point of concentration that any discipline requires, whether it's engineering or it's directing or acting or painting. That point of concentration is the focal point. It is the thing around which you organize your thinking and your technique. And so the fact that there's ensemble work where people learn to work collaboratively is something that I see that people take into their labs in a way that you would hope that labs would work collaboratively.
Well, right now, it's sort of the theater is a way I can investigate my own sort of identity, especially my own cultural identity. But I'm also enjoy theater because it's such a collaborative art. And it's a lot like engineering, which is one of my majors, and I also intend to pursue engineering. And in that it is so collaborative, and so you get a lot of different people's perspective on things.
I'm Bill Arning. I'm the curator at the MIT List Visual Arts Center, and I'm here in our annual student loan exhibition. MIT, quite unusually, has a collection of artworks that students get to live with for a year.
Arts are in every new building now. It's pervasive from that point of view, and it's pervasive from the things that you see people doing all over.
We find our students, a certain number of them go on to graduate study in music and in the arts. Some of them go on to become leaders of arts organizations within their communities. Some of them go on to sing in organizations or perform in organizations like the Tanglewood Festival Chorus. And in a couple of notable situations, I have myself a number of times been engaged by organizations whose presidents were either in my class at MIT 20 years ago or had been at MIT years before that. my first visit to MIT, when I walked through the halls, I remember passing through the math department on the way to Building 14, where we used to be. And I looked in a door and saw mathematicians hunched in carols, and I felt right at home, because that looked exactly like walking down the halls of Juilliard into the practice rooms and seeing people working personally on something.
One of the amazing things about MIT students is the incredible wide range of interests and abilities that extend far beyond the intellectual and the academic. And our special guest with us this section of the concert is no exception to that. His name is Jonathan Lee.
I think that being involved in activities like this only enhances your education. I think it's important that while you're at school to focus on things besides your own research.
So people come here as scientists, as engineers, as mathematicians, but when they are making art, they're artists.
People moving out, people moving in. Why? Because of the color of their skin, all confusion.
I think that's a way of chilling out some of the stresses you have. It's a way of looking at the things you're doing with a broader picture.
We are the engineers, we are the engineers, yes, we are the engineers, we are the MIT engineers, we are the engineers, yes, we are the engineers.
So you shouldn't think that MIT has no art, because they've got them like sprawling all over the place.
Well, now the advice I give to incoming freshmen consistently is don't leave your trumpet at home. You can use it here.
Engineers, go, 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 go. Engineers, go, 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 go. Engineers, go, 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 go. Engineers, we are the engineers.
A lady and an engineer were sitting in the park, and the engineer was working on some research after dark. The scientific method was a wonder to observe.
MIT is admired around the world as a crucible of creative thought, a force for progress, a place where dreams of generations become reality. MIT has done much to make this the American century.
The Boston area boasts of several excellent institutions of higher learning, but there is only one MIT.
MIT has shown a standard of excellence in education and research that sets a benchmark for universities everywhere.
Right now, China is very short of talented managers. What we would like to see more than anything else is to see MIT helping us to train these high-level managerial persons.
I promise I will pay what you are paid here.
Thank you.
I personally and Microsoft have been an incredible beneficiary of the kind of work that goes on in here and other places like this. Here at MIT, over 50 years ago, there was a vision laid down by Vannevar Bush that we're probably about 20% of the way to achieving.
I can't tell you how much I have personally benefited from this institution. As part of this wonderful campaign, I would like to put $100 million on the table.
The
one is unfortunate enough to be disabled, this is the age in which to be so. The disabled have a lot to thank technology for. I probably wouldn't have survived, and I certainly wouldn't have been able to write a best-selling book if I had been born any earlier.
Managing innovation and figuring out how to actually turn good ideas into products is a really interesting thing that you probably don't learn about in universities. It's not about just technology. It's about the way people are treated. It's about how you motivate people.
What was that inspiration which led suddenly to the World Wide Web? For me, I wanted the thing to be a project management tool that allows us all to work together, not management in the top down, but management in the working together way. So I then said it should be intercreative, a universal space for people to communicate through sharing knowledge.
We are at the dawn of a true innovation age. It's estimated that the entire store of human knowledge now doubles every 5 years.
I would like to thank MIT for this incredible honor, which is, I have to say, the first academic honor I've ever received. So it's nice to start at the top. This is such a great institution dedicated to the search for the new and to the openness of thought that that search requires.
This case is the great test of where we stand on the issue of freedom and solidarity and the future of our own culture.
For in the end, I believe the real challenge of history is to resist the tendency so prevalent today to label, to stereotype, to expose, to denigrate, and instead to bring common sense and empathy to our subjects so that the past can truly come alive, if only for a few moments, in all of its beauty, glory, sadness, and complexity.
Young people like you are always the vanguard of any social movement, setting an energetic tone of courage and commitment. And now we need you to once again lead us to a higher and more noble destiny.
21st century America belongs to you. Take good care of it. Thank you, and God bless you.